Hello and welcome back to NSUSpartans.com, fueled by Gatorade for the Spartan Sports Zone. So much to talk about as it was rivalry week for the Spartans. The Battle of the Bay took front and center on two fronts. First, we'll start at Dick Price Stadium as NSU looked to get back on the winning track against the Pirates.
On Sunday, the battle continued as the NSU volleyball team looked to upset the undefeated Lady Pirates in conference play. We will also see how they did in action versus UMES at home.
We will catch up with the men's and women's cross-country teams as they hit the course looking to fine-tune things heading into the conference championships. We will also recap Spartan Madness and so much more on this edition of the Spartan Sports Zone, and it starts right now.
Hello, Spartan fans, and welcome back to the Spartan Sports Zone. I'm Ross Gordon, the play-by-play voice of the Spartans, joined by Assistant Sports Information Director Mike Bello and Sports Information Assistant Chandrea Lee. Let's get right to the action this week as the Spartans welcomed Hampton University into Dick Price Stadium for the Battle of the Bay for the first of 3 straight big home games for NSU. Fans for both schools were excited about the matchup between the teams, bands, and cheerleaders as things started quickly for the Pirates. Quarterback Brian Bailey got the Pirates moving on their first drive of the day, hooking up with Leon Shorter for 28 yards to set up the first score of the day. Anthony Prevost knocked one through from 27 yards out to give HU a 3-0 lead. The offense for NSU started slowly, but things started to pick up after this 16-yard run by Nico Flores to give NSU a first down. Even though the drive stalled, NSU found some success moving the football. That takes us to the second quarter, and the defense of NSU again makes a big play. Bailey stayed on the field on a 4th and 4 from the NSU 29-yard line, but after dropping back to pass, he was sacked by Marcel Coates. The NSU offense would then get things going, but also lose starting quarterback Nico Flores on this 5-yard run. Enter Omari Timmons, who connected on his first pass of the day to Joe Hawkins for 11 yards, and then on a 3rd and 3 on the same drive, Timmons hooked up with Hawkins again for 11 more yards to set up a 1st and 10 at the Pirates 17. 2 plays later, Timmons dropped back to pass and then hit pay dirt on a 16-yard scamper to give NSU the lead for the first time. Hampton would respond later in the second. Jorian Washington, who rushed for over 100 yards, got 22 on this play to give the Pirates a first down. A few plays later, Shorter again made a play downfield to get a first down on this 25-yard pitch and catch from Bailey. That set up the first touchdown of the day for the Pirates as Morris Brailsford plunged in from a yard out to put Hampton up 10-7 going into halftime. NSU came out of the locker room with a steady dose of Deuce Finch as he ran for 28 yards on his first 2 carries, the second a 21-yard run. Finch added 16 more yards, breaking tackles and setting up NSU with a first down at the HU 15, thanks also to a personal foul penalty. The HU defense held NSU to a Cameron Maroof 28-yard field goal to tie the game at 10. After failed drives by both offenses on the next 2 possessions, Hampton struck quickly. First, Bailey hit Shorter for 29 yards, and on the very next play, hooked up with Twarn Mixon with 32 yards for a score to put the Pirates up by 7. In the fourth quarter, the Spartans showed their quick stride ability as Timmons hit DeAndre Sangster in stride for 38 yards to the HU 11-yard line. On the next play, Timmons got his second rushing touchdown of the day to tie the game at 17. After back-to-back 3-and-outs, Hampton took the lead for good as Prevost hit a 40-yard field goal for a 3-point edge. On the next drive, Timmons was intercepted for the 3rd time of the day by Denzel Heath, who returned it deep into Spartan territory to set up the final score of the day by Washington to provide the final margin of victory, 27-17. Despite his 3 interceptions, head coach Pete Adrian was pleased with how Timmons played coming off the bench.
Well, I thought he responded to it very favorably. I mean, he came in and he really played a good football game. He had some real nice reads for us, threw some nice balls. Unfortunately, right down the end, he made a mistake when he missed Hawkins coming across the middle wide open, threw behind him. That was a big interception that really hurt us. And then at the end of the ball game, he was just trying to make a play again, and he should have thrown the ball away instead of trying to get it downfield for the touchdown because we still had plenty of time left. But I was pleased with his progression. It'll be interesting to see how he plays this week. I'm expecting pretty good things with him. You know, he keeps getting better the more he gets to play.
The Spartans were led by Finch, who ended the day with 141 yards rushing and 17 yards receiving. Timmons finished 11 of 21 for 150 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Defensively, Marcel Koch ended the day with 14 tackles, 2.5 for loss, and 1 sack and 1 forced fumble. The Pirates had 2 100-yard receivers in Mixon and Shorter, while Washington rushed for 100 yards as well. Bailey threw for 263 yards and 1 touchdown. Later on, we'll preview the ODU football game coming up this Saturday at Dick Price Stadium.
NSU volleyball had a very up-and-down weekend, and it began at home on Friday against UMS, a team the Spartans had already swept earlier this year. The Hawks, though, had other plans, at least early on, as the Spartans found themselves in an early 2-0 hole after UMS won 25-22 and 25-19. The Spartan offense finally came alive in the last 3 sets as NSU pulled ahead to win 25-17, 25-20, and finally 15-7 to avoid what would have been a devastating upset defeat. Sophomore outside hitter Janae Frazier was the player of the match, lifting NSU thanks to 16 kills on a .536 attack percentage. The Battle of the Bay on Sunday at Hampton turned into a rout as the Pirates kept their perfect MEAC record alive with a 25-19, 25-15, and 25-11 victory over NSU. For head coach Brandon Duvall, a weekend that was both good and bad gave him a lot to digest.
As coaches, kind of what we take from this weekend is, we've still got a lot of work to do. I mean, we would love to be playing our best volleyball right now. And for some of our girls, I feel like they look like they're in mid-season form. And there's some girls, it's either a mental thing or a little bit of an ailment here and there that is pretty natural this time of year. But I think, we're still working on coming together. I think the team loves working together. I think they love being around each other. But when it comes to competition, getting on the court, we're still trying to find ourselves. We're still looking for that floor general who can lead everybody and everybody kind of relaxes and plays their game because that person is leading. We're still missing that a little bit.
Later in the show, we'll take a peek at a very important MEAC weekend with a road trip to Coppin State and Morgan State on tap.
Both the men's and women's tennis teams closed out their fall tournament schedules at the ITA Regionals over the weekend. The men's tennis team was in action at Virginia Tech, where they picked up some notable wins. Sophomore Robin Rithmuller picked up a win over Penn State's Daniel Cohen. Junior Daniel Grau was also victorious against Old Dominion's Keon Wigeman, and sophomore Dmitry Zamantovich defeated Liberty's Dylan Seger. The women's team was in action at UVA. Junior Mafalda Lorca and sophomore Andrea Macchiavello teamed up in the doubles competition where they fell to Pitt. Lisa Gordiva fell to William and Mary's Nabila Farah, while Gordiva also fell to Temple's Jordan Beatty.
Basketball season is little more than 2 weeks away, so to give fans an early glimpse at this year's team, the basketball programs held their annual Spartan Madness on Saturday night at Eccles Hall. Players from both basketball teams were introduced to the crowd, and head coach Robert Jones proved things would be much different with him in charge after he came out with a little song and dance to French Montana's Ain't Worried About Nothing. Seniors Pendarvis Williams defeated a pair of teammates in the three-point shooting contest and then took on Ebony Brown in the Battle of the Sexes three-point contest a little later. Williams defeated teammates Zaik Estimate and Jeff Short in the first rounds and then won by an 18-11 score over Brown in the final to take home the crown. It was then on to the much-anticipated dunk contest with Riley May, Sajay Pryor, and Malik Trent. All three players dazzled the crowd with a variety of dunks, but this off-the-bounce left-handed windmill slam from Pryor stole the show. A panel of 4 judges each gave Pryor a perfect 10 on that attempt to help give him a final 113-110 edge over Malik Trent for the dunk title. The green and gold scrimmage brought out a few new stars for NSU, included rejuvenated senior Jordan Weathers, who finished with 15 points in gold's 60-50 loss to Green. Sophomores Rasheed Gaston also had 15 points for Green, while newcomers Pryor and Jeff Short also scored in double figures. Redshirt sophomore Hefeng Sun proved he will be a crowd favorite as the season goes on, and fellow newcomer Latree Russell showed the Spartans will be very deep at the forward this year. Coming up after the break, we'll hear from Coach Adrian about what Spartan football needs to do to slow down ODU's passing offense. We'll also find out how well long snappers Ricky Foreman and Alex Killam know each other in the second installment of our newest segment, Know Your Fellow Spartan. All that plus more coming up on the Spartan Sports Zone. Secure your future by getting a top-notch education only at Norfolk State University. With world-class faculty and facilities, a bustling campus life, and highly regarded programs in the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology and the School of Business, Norfolk State is one of Virginia's leaders in higher education. Founded in 1935 as a beacon of hope to the region's youth, more than 78 years later, the university remains a source of inspiration for those in the Hampton Roads region and beyond who aspire to fulfill their dreams. A military-friendly school in one of the largest military areas of the world, Norfolk State University is home to faculty researchers who have forged partnerships that have created cutting-edge virtual learning environments. With more than 30,000 alumni, Norfolk State has played a vital role in our community in the past and is serving in a critical role today, and will continue to be an academic leader in the future. Find out more at nsu.edu. Norfolk State University, infinite possibilities.
Welcome back to the Spartan Sports Zone. Last week we debuted our new series, Know Your Fellow Spartan. We asked volleyball players Noelle Eagles and Kylie Thim a number of questions about each other to find out just how well those two best friends know each other. So this week we decided to head to the gridiron to test long snappers Alex Killam and Ricky Foreman. Spartan Sports Zone correspondent Chandrea Lee sat down with the two juniors and asked them more than a handful of questions to find out how much these two roommates know about each other.
Welcome to this week's edition of Know Your Fellow Spartan. I'm Chandrea Lee here with Ricky Foreman and Alex Killam of the NSU football team. They're the long snappers, and we're here to see how well they know each other. Starting with Ricky. Ricky, who do you think Alex talked to on the phone the most?
Probably his father.
Alex?
I'd have talked to Andrea.
Who's Andrea? Is that your girlfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's cute.
Alex, who do you think Ricky talks to on the phone the most?
I'd have to say either Sable or his mom.
You have to pick one. You can't pick two.
I'd have to say his mom.
Ricky?
Mother.
Oh. 1-0.
You got that one, Alex.
We'll start with Alex this time. Alex, would you rather snap for punts or field goals or PATs?
I think Ricky would most likely want to snap for punts.
Got another one, Alex. Got another one.
Ricky, same question for you. Who do you think Alex would rather snap for, punts or field goal PATs?
I think he wants to knock me off of my pedestal, so he wants punts.
Yeah, you got that one right.
Ricky, who is Alex's current celebrity crush? And it can be movies or TV.
Can it be sports?
No sport.
Let me see. Movie crush.
We can go with music.
I really don't know that one. I really don't. I'm gonna have to make a guess, so I would say Peter Griffin from Family Guy.
Peter Griffin from Family Guy. Okay. Alex, is this true?
I'm gonna have to say it's not. It's Sierra.
Ooh, Sierra.
Yeah, that's not a TV.
For the complete episode of Know Your Fellow Spartan, check back at our YouTube page, youtube.com/NSU Athletics later this week.
The men's and women's cross-country programs were in action over the weekend at the Christopher Newport Invitational. On the men's side, senior Dam2 AdNew finished 7th overall to help the Spartans finish 3rd as a team. AdNew ran a season-best time of 26 minutes and 10.5 seconds in the 8K race. Teammate Sammy Kiptu placed 8th with a time of 26 minutes and 14.5 seconds. The Spartans finished behind William & Mary and VCU. North Carolina A&T was 4th, Mount St. Mary's finished 5th, and Hampton was 6th. On the women's side, junior Fiona Masai took 3rd place with a time of 23 minutes and 2.6 seconds to propel NSU to a 3rd place team finish. The women's team had 2 other runners finish in the top 10, including freshman Adugna Desalin, who was 5th, and sophomore Faith Summy, who placed 10th. NSU will travel to Princess Anne, Maryland on Saturday to compete at the MEAC Cross Country Championship. The women's race is set to begin at 9:45 a.m., followed by the men's race at 10:30 a.m.
It will be a big weekend for NSU volleyball on the road as the Spartans take on Morgan State and Coppin State in what is shaping up to be a tight race heading into the MEAC tournament. Both Morgan State and NSU sit at 4-3 in conference play behind 1st place Hampton and 2nd place Howard. Coppin State at 3-4 is currently on the outside looking in for one of the 4 MEAC tournament spots. NSU will play at Morgan State on Friday at 7 p.m. against a team riding high after downing Howard last weekend. The Spartans play at Coppin State on Sunday at 3 p.m. and be looking to make it a complete sweep of the Baltimore schools after winning both home matches against the Bears and the Eagles. Coach Duvall believes every Northern Division match this year is a potential pitfall after last place Delaware State took 1st place Hampton to 5 sets on Friday.
I think every match in the North right now is extremely important. We can't afford to take a misstep on anybody. Naturally we already have the advantage against Coppin and Morgan, and Del State and UMES, but right now Howard has the up on us, and we got to hopefully play them well here at home and take a win from them and continue to finish out. And hopefully, if we're able to really push through the rest of the season and really take advantage of getting better and working hard and getting these wins. And we'll be 9-3 again like we were last year, and we were in the same boat we were last year. So.
Hampton also plays Coppin State and Morgan State this weekend, while Howard hosts both Delaware State and UMES.
The Spartan football team will be at home again this week as the ODU Monarchs will visit Dick Price Stadium for the first time ever. ODU and NSU have played once before, a 35-18 ODU win in the first round of the NCAA FCS playoffs 2 years ago. The Monarchs are 4-3 on the season and are now transitioning to FBS and into Conference USA. ODU is coming off a 35-24 setback to Pittsburgh at Heinz Field last weekend. ODU outgained Pitt 405-370, holding the Panthers to just 104 yards passing, but surrendered 266 yards rushing. ODU is led offensively by last year's Walter Payton Award winner Tyler Heineke. Against Pitt, he threw for 312 yards to go along with 2 scores. On the year, he is averaging 342 yards passing a game. Slowing down Heineke will be a challenge for the NSU defense.
Well, maybe if they come at 2 o'clock and we'll start at 1, that would be one good thing. But no, I mean, they do a great job with it. It's very simple what they do, but they do it very excellent. They got great spacing by their wide receiver sitting in there. And, of course, when you got 14 back there making the decision, who's not your average quarterback, he just does an outstanding job of reading and getting rid of the ball quickly, so it makes it very difficult to blitz. I mean, they move the ball on everybody they played, regardless of what level it is. And we'll have to play an unbelievable game and try to hang in there with them as long as we can.
Defensively for the Monarchs, they've struggled, giving up 210 yards rushing on average and 246 yards passing. The Monarchs' leading tackler is safety Falante Misher, who has 60 tackles on the year to go along with 1 interception. It will be another electric atmosphere at Dick Price Stadium. Game time is at 1 p.m. You can listen to the game live beginning with the pregame show at 12:30 p.m. on WXTG 1490 AM The Game, as well as Hot 91.1 FM. You can also follow the live stats and watch the live video stream at nsuspartans.com. The cost of the video feed is $8.
The Spartan bowling team began its season last weekend at the Kutztown Fall Baker Invitational, where the Spartans finished 4-2 with 3 wins over ranked opponents. Senior Thea Aspiris was named to the all-tournament team for her scheduled play on Saturday, setting NSU up well for its first full tournament of the year this weekend at home. NSU will host a variety of schools for the Hampton Roads Invitational this Saturday and Sunday at the AMF Lanes in Chesapeake on Battlefield Boulevard. Action gets underway between 8:30 and 9 a.m. on both days, and Sunday will also include a Senior Day presentation to Aspiris. Coach Harrison knows the team will be ready to compete in front of their home fans.
It's that we'll be relaxed. We should be a lot calmer. We'll have a good practice this whole week. We'll be able to go to the bowling alley locally and get us some good practice in on the shot that we're going to be on this weekend. And I think the girls want to play, again, from in front of the home crowd. And we know that everybody's excited. A lot of kids have been coming by saying they're coming over to see us. So I think this weekend is going to be a good weekend.
Check back at nsuspartans.com this week for a more detailed schedule of the tournament.
It's now time for this week's top 3 performances. Coming in at number 3 is our sophomore outside hitter, Janae Frazier. She led NSU's comeback against UMES on Friday with 16 kills and hit .536, the best performance by a Spartan player all year. Our number 2 performer is senior bowler Thea Aspiris. She was named to the all-tournament team at the Kutztown Fall Baker Invitational, helping NSU finish 4-2 over the weekend with 3 victories over ranked teams. And our top performer this week is senior running back Relandon Finch. Despite NSU's loss to Hampton, Finch carried the ball 21 times for 141 yards, averaging 6.7 per carry. He currently leads the MEAC in rushing by nearly 200 yards. And that'll once again do it for this week's edition of the Spartan Sports Zone. As always, we'd like to thank the Department of Video and Media Productions and Chantel Coates for all of their help.
I'm Chandrea Lee.
And I'm Mike Bello.
And I'm Ross Gordon. Thank you for tuning in and see you next week.